Hey everyone, it's Ashley from Wholesaling Out of the Box, and I am joined today by Cameron Peters, Shawn Bowen, Kaylee Body, and Jacob McPherson. Sorry, I got a little sidetracked for a second. And today we're going to be doing our 2020 wrap up episode. So, yay, get excited.
Woo
Thanks, Shawn. So 2020 has been a weird year, of course, with COVID. We definitely had to make a lot of changes to our business. When things originally shut down back in March, we had been doing really steady work. Things had been going pretty well. And then, everything shut down. So we we had a weird kind of 4 to 6 weeks where we weren't really sure what we could be doing, what we should be doing. And we had to learn how to make that pivot. We were already a virtual business. So we at least didn't have to make that pivot to working from home. We were already doing that. But we definitely had to go through and change how we were doing things. Even as simple as appointments, because people didn't want you in their house. And so it's been a pretty big year for change for us. We brought on Cam full time. He came on later on, then in end of May, beginning of June, and had a pretty killer year. He'll tell you a little bit about that later. And then we brought Kaylee on part time. And toward the end of this year, beginning of next year, both Kaylee and Jacob are going to be shifting to full time. So we've got some really cool things to look forward to in 2021, which you'll hear about in the next podcast or YouTube episode. So, first thing, that's been our 2020. It's been ups and downs, but it's been, like I said, first and foremost, a very weird year. But we've made it through almost, and now we are getting ready for 2021. And let's talk about it. So, Shawn, let's start with you. We're gonna do good year, bad year. What was let's go through and everyone can list their bad year, and then we'll all go list our good year so that we end on like a good note. So,
Yeah.
Shawn, what's your bad year?
For us this year, I think the bad side of things was the pivot that we had to do within the company, right? We had to figure out a quick, fast change of how we were going to keep leads coming in, how we were going to keep leads consistently flowing in, where most of our marketing comes from the courthouse stuff, and all that had been shut down. So a lot of that wasn't being done. So from an owner standpoint, it looked like, how do we fix this? Right? Where do we go? What do we do? And the entire team stepping up to the plate and saying, like, what if we try this? What if we try that? Right. And it had been fortunate enough that we were almost like in the middle of a new mastermind group that kind of gave us some ideas behind some idea or things that we did to pivot some other processes and procedures that we did as a company that also helped us really change. So I think as far as I hate to say it because it doesn't sound bad when I'm saying it, but like it was like, oh man, how do we get this texting set up? How do we get this cold calling thing set up? And how do we make all this work to where we can track the numbers and know our KPIs behind it? And that was a big, heavy burden that the entire company, each person took a certain piece of it and started running with it and say, hey, we've got 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks to figure that out, have it up and running. Right. And then keep hitting that. So I think if you were to say it bad, it was just like, man, we really got to change. And we did. And it was a really good pivot. It actually opened up doors so now I think would take me over to the better. Right. So like the good side of the year was we were able to bring on new team members based on some of the old stuff that forced us to move into these types of situations for like the cold calling and the texting. But then having Kaylee come on as a junior acquisitions, that's a new operation. That's a new piece. Having Cam go full time, and knowing Jacob's coming over full time. Obviously, everybody here on the screen is going to be going full time, but that was a massive change that I think from an owner standpoint, you're just like, oh man. And I said it a few times this year. It was just like, man, my stomach's flipping upside down, or you see the bank account go like right down the toilet, right? And you're like, oh man. All right. So I think it was the good stuff was from the bad, right? So it's crazy how that works, but seeing this turn that the company had to make in order to survive. And there was a lot of people that didn't make it, didn't have the teams, didn't have the ability, didn't have the open mind, just didn't have it, and they folded, right? Or maybe they're pulled back a lot, and this is not just our market, but other markets from other places I'm part of, other groups. So yeah, I think it was a killer year. We were only 100 grand short of our, our goal we were trying to hit for the year. And I think we were talking like $500,000, and we're only like 100 grand short of that. And we all talked about that at the beginning of the year. We're like, holy shit, are you serious? You think we're going to do that much a year? And then you see the numbers, you're like, oh, wow, we actually can really do that. And we can actually do more when we know, going full time and hours and calls and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, I think the end of the year was really good, and it came from the bad. So that's me.
Cool. Jacob, what about you? Bad year, good year?
I think it was a combination thereof. So I would agree with Shawn, right? There was a lot that was going on as far as trying to learn how to pivot. And then for me personally, there was a lot going on trying to pivot between, taking on my first rehab project, plus trying to wholesale, plus trying to work in a 9 to 5 setting, which is not really a 9 to 5. It's more like a 6 to 6. So in and of itself, just trying to balance and deal with all of those things was extremely stressful. And then on top of everything that came along with COVID, as far as losing the stress relief outlets, right? I mean, that was a huge portion to how that affected us. So I would say those were some of the bad things. I think some good came out of them based on the fact that, kind of it was a learning curve in and of itself on the rehab side of the house, as well as the time management side of the house, more of what not to do than of what to do, but that's not always a bad thing as long as you learn from it. So overall, yeah, I think we had some trials and tribulations, so to speak, but I mean, if I had to really talk about 2020 overall, I would consider it to be a success, just based on everything that we learned and ultimately just how we handled it. I think that was one of the best things about it. I mean, yeah, we struggled, but we also, we came up and created new ideas and new paths moving forward that I think we all know is just going to make the company that much better moving forward. So overall, I would say it was positive, but we had to go through some negatives in order to get there.
Awesome. Kaylee?
Well, business-wise, I didn't have much bad. I think maybe the only bad thing I can think of is there was another investment group that I tried to work with earlier this year that was awful. But I don't see that as bad because it helped me to see how great you guys are. Completely different than the other companies. So, yeah, I think that was the only bad. I had a lot of great things happen this year. I was fortunate that money didn't stop coming. I didn't even have to work for the money. I had a large referral network of of other agents that brought money into me almost every month. So that was awesome for this year. Meeting you guys and trying to learn the wholesale business with what you offered before you then asked me to join the team. So that was amazing. And you working with me to allow me to, stick with the commitment that I had given another company already to the end of this year. So it's just been great for me.
Muted. Awesome. I'm really glad you were able to come on and join the team. And we have, like I said, great things in store for 2021. So excited to see what happens then. Cam, what about you?
Yeah, so I would say a lot of the worst parts of the year centered around when we joined that mastermind group that Shawn mentioned, right? All had good intentions and there were good things that came out of that, but I don't think it turned out exactly the way we had planned. And in the midst of that, beyond our own control, like 3 deals just fell off the table, right? And 1 got pushed back. And so everything was beyond our control. We were tracking everything. We were managing our business well. It's nothing that we could have foreseen, but we were trying to take, a step to the next level. And meanwhile, 1 property that I was going to take down as a rental myself fell off. And then another property just fell off because there was like $80-some thousand worth of judgments on it, right? And then another property just got pushed back because it was a JV deal and it wasn't priced right. And then 1 that ended up being a very good deal got pushed back like almost 60 days past when we were supposed to close. Just nothing we could have controlled. And so that caused a little challenging pivot because we had projected income coming into the company, right? And it did not show up. And it turned into a couple of dry months. And that's really tough. So that was, you know what I mean? I think it goes to show that sometimes you can do everything right, and that none of those things we could control. We didn't do anything wrong. Matter of fact, I think we absolutely like tried to mitigate or eliminate those as many ways as we could. And at the end of the day, it was just like, you know, multiple talks. We were like, man, I don't know what else we can do. We have literally done everything, you know what I mean? And talks with the team to be like, are you guys sure there's nothing else we can do? There's no other way we can attack these. Nope. And they just fell off. So that was the most, I think, to me, the downside of the year. But again, honestly, it's good to know that downside was everything was beyond our control. We didn't screw anything up. You know what I'm saying? It just happened. So yeah, that's the downside for me.
Okay. And good part?
And so I think out of that came the best part. And I think that's bringing Kaylee on, because all that stuff that we learned in that mastermind group and all that stuff that we started focusing on led us to do a few things, which now we do business development meetings every 2 weeks, right? And during those meetings, some of the things that we discussed was bringing on cold callers and bringing on another acquisition manager. And so now we have Kaylee sitting with us. So I think that is truly the best. The best thing is that we got together more as a team to focus on development of the company, right? And we knew that we needed another team member for sure. And Kaylee's sitting here with us. So that, to me, that's the best part of the year right there.
Yeah, definitely. So for my bad year, good year kind of thing, I agree a lot with Cam and with what Shawn said. We had some really tight months, and it was sort of because we took a moment to work on our business instead of working in our business. And I think we realized, I mean, learning experience. Edison learned 1,000 ways not to make a light bulb before he learned one way to make a light bulb. So we have learned how much we can spend on working on the business as opposed to in the business in the future. So I think it turned into a couple of rough months because of that, but we've bounced back, and I think it's made us a lot better. And I think that's part of what my good year is, because my good year is that we've done a lot of building this year, both on Full Circle and with Wholesaling Out of the Box. A lot of building. We've still got some more building to finish off the end of the year, but I think it's setting us up into a really good position for next year. I think a lot of us realized when COVID hit that this wasn't going to be the year that we thought it was going to be, because I kind of thought 2020 would be our growth year. But then when everything shut down, it was just hard to do that. I mean, physically, to be able to go out and do what we had been doing. And so I think we have been able to build a lot of things in the background to make 2021 grow a lot more. And I'm excited about that. Okay. So now, how do you guys feel like the team worked together this year? What should we keep up with for team stuff, and what should we change? Does anyone want to go first? Cam, go ahead.
Yeah, I think the business development meetings are without a doubt like the best thing we did professionally this year, where we got together. We didn't talk about leads. We've been pretty good about it. It's tough for us as a team not to talk about leads, not to talk about this house that we just went to, not to talk about this person that we're talking to. It's really tough, but we've done a really good job during those 3 hours usually every 2 weeks to like unplug and then focus on what is our short and long term goal within 90 days and beyond. Obviously, we've moved beyond that too. So that's definitely my favorite, like the best thing that we've done as a team and how we came together as a team, because we all go in there. There's no sort of judging and brainstorming. There's so many ideas that came out of there from all of us. And even I remember at Kaylee's first business development meeting, right? She brought a bunch of ideas to the table that I think it's safe to say none of us were even thinking about, right? And it's just that different perspective that came in. I think something we should change. We always have a Christmas holiday party. I think we should have a mid-year party sometime in the summer and just do something, whatever that may be, like get on a boat, get on the beach, get on whatever, like just, you know, so kind of a 6 months, because I think we do a lot of good, not a little bit more unprofessional, I guess, like getting together and brainstorming and just hanging out and just getting to know each other better as people as well. So I think that would be good for 2021. I don't think I've mentioned that before now. But yeah, cool.
Yeah, I think that's the first time we heard of that.
Yep.
I mean, I think it's a good idea. Might as well. Like,
Yeah.
we don't get to see each other in person a lot, so
Yep.
always nice. Kaylee, what about you?
I love Cam's idea about the mid-year get together, and team building is always a good thing, especially when the team is as close as we are. I don't know how things were before I got here, so, but the biz development meetings, I do love those, where we all get to brainstorm and come up with new ideas and how to grow. Um, I can't think of anything that I would change. Yeah, I can't think of anything that I would change.
Okay. Jacob.
I can't really think of much that I would change either. Kind of going after what Kaylee had just said. I think that it was a year of learning, but I think that we're all really open. We all communicate very well. We all understand what the expectations are, what the goals are. I think that that's one of the things that our team has done excellent at over the last couple of years since I've been on board, for sure. I think that consistent, honest, open talk allows us to pivot better and allows us to work more effectively, because none of us are really afraid to say what's on our mind and to like you said, Cam, I mean, there's no judgment in brainstorming, right? So if an idea comes into our heads, we're all open to sharing, and we're also all open to hearing that too. So I think the environment that we have created as a team is just really great. I mean, it's one of the I would say it's the most effective team that I've worked on in my career thus far, and that's working for 3 different companies in the past from an engineering and process management and project management standpoint. So I think that really speaks a lot. We're a smaller company, we can pivot easier, and I just think the communication that we have is truly great. So, and I think that without that, I think it's really, really difficult to be able to change as quickly as we were able to, and as effectively to, try to counteract everything that was coming in with COVID, and obviously taking on the rehab, and everybody just kind of jumping in and doing their part. And I just think we're all really, really great at that. So as far as negative, I really can't say anything, but I would agree with Cam. I think we should have a summer gig for sure, but I think that that's also because he was sitting next to Kristen. So,
But the summer one has to be a brunch party.
Yes. Oh, yes, for sure. Shawn doesn't get a say in that one.
Yeah, it's going down.
Oh my God, you guys are awesome. All right, I want to make sure I heard the question again.
Yeah. So how do you feel like the team worked together this year? Good, bad, ugly. And then what should we keep up with, or what should we change?
So I think it's funny because as the owner, I'm the visionary, and I'm the one that's, as Cam likes to say, throttling down, right? It's like, oh, we can do it. We can do it. Let's do this. Let's do that. Right. And it's so big picture, but needs to be dialed in to actually have an SOP, and does it work and all that kind of stuff. So I think after everybody has said the same thing, it all goes back to what you have across the board said. It's a small team, and we are very tight knit as a team, right? At any point in time, anybody can help pick up slack somewhere else, no matter what. Right. So that's a very important piece as a team and a company that works together. I think that's probably one of the biggest things I've enjoyed watching happen as we grow as a team. It's crazy how close knit, I won't say crazy, but it's really cool how to see how close knit everybody is, to know that it's not like you're calling somebody out, but you can take a jab at them and it's okay. Right. Because it's real. And if you've got the judging and no judging and brainstorming, if my wife is listening to this later, or like, that was something that happened when I first met her, and it was like a marriage thing. Right. And it's like, it's almost like we put that in the company, right? We injected it into the company to where it's a real thing, right? There's no judging. bring your ideas to the table, have open conversations, have why this doesn't work. And that's where like Kaylee's first meeting with us and coming in and growing, these ideas were massive. So I think it's really cool. I'm always trying to change because I'm always trying to add new shit, right? But that's me as the visionary wanting to try to add other things to the company to do. So that fine balance of how you guys kind of rein it back in or dial it down a little bit to like, hey, whoa, let's talk about how that's going to work, right? So I think that's really cool. As far as what we would change, I'm always wanting to change, right? I'm always wanting. I hate to stay stagnant and doing the same thing over and over. I always want it to grow. I always want it to change, right? I talk about like, well, we did that last year. What can we do better this year, right? So that's always my mindset, and it's always been that way. But I hear Jacob when he says he's worked for other 3 companies. These are big corporation companies, right? And we as a small company, I feel embody a lot of what the big stuff is and still have a really good core culture, right? Everybody can talk, everybody can freely say what they want to say, you know, and it's just this very open dynamic that allows people to, you know, enjoy being part of this team. So I think that's probably one of the biggest things I look forward to is just whether new team members come on or whether they be virtual assistants or whatever they are as this team, it's embodying that because they bring on the core values to work with the whole team to grow it, right? That goes back to one of our core values of value creates opportunity. There's a value there that you will afford to be an opportunity, kind of like what we talked about with profit sharing and stuff like that coming up. So I think it's really cool. I love to hear the review of how you guys talk and work as a team and like see the vision as this company that you're working with. And it's not for, right? I hate hearing people say like, I work for Full Circle. No, you work with Full Circle. Like this isn't like, you got to do it this way. You know what I mean? I mean, except for, you know, watching all the videos and learning how to read out loud and all that other kind of stuff. I feel like I can't do Mother Goose books anymore, man. Y'all got it. Somebody else has got to read. I'm horrible at it. Anyway, yeah, I think it's really cool. I'm always wanting to change, but I think overall it's always looking forward to what the team wants to do that changes and grows in that direction than it is just me. It's not about me. It was started with me, and that's grown out past that now. That's what I really like to see because that was a goal. You know, it's not about me as a person. It's about us as a company. So I think that's really cool.
Nice. Yeah. I think as a team too, one thing I want to say for this year, we did a really, really good job of sort of reconfiguring the company because going into 2020, it was mainly just Shawn and I, and Kaylee wasn't here, but Cam and Jacob were working part-time, and shifting into what did that look like as Cam came on full-time. And I know this is one thing that I'm still not great at, but I'm trying, like learning how to delegate and pushing things over. Like Cam came on and he took on Dispo and he started taking over some of the stuff that I would normally do. And I mean, there are still things that like, you know, if we're trying to use GlobiFlow, that's pretty much just me that's going to be able to do that. But Cam's been able to help me out with a lot of other stuff to make things a little bit easier and to spread the wealth a little bit. And I think it's helped me and it's helped Shawn kind of learn how to better do that so that as we grow and bring on more people, we're better able to do that moving forward as well. Okay, so I've got 2 more questions for you guys. What does a great day of work look like for you? Does anyone want to go first? Shawn? Oh, okay, Kaylee.
So a great day at work would be making some calls and getting an immediate yes. Send over the contract and they send it right back. That's a great day.
Yeah, buddy.
Right, Shawn?
Yeah, that's it.
A good day for me is when everything is going smooth to the team is operating in the background. You guys are getting things done. If I look at it singular, as far as like what I as the owner and want to like inject into the company, it's always just having really solid conversations. I realize as I grow into a company we grow into a bigger organization, my time is very valuable. And I'm starting to really realize that, from helping other people learn to charging people for those time frames. But if anything, a good day is to know that everybody during the day hit their goals, daily goals to weekly goals to monthly goals to quarterly. That is where I like to see it, because then things are working. And then of course I always love to see the kink. I love to see the kink in the chain where something happens and then it's an easy pivot to it gets handled, right? It used to be like what was it? Text would come in, or be weekend things, or like this is like you said with me and Ashley, we're dealing with this. It would be like massive issues, right? But we've always said there is no emergency in real estate unless it's like a water issue. But otherwise, there's really no emergency in real estate, right? And your house burning, but let's get real. So it's really cool to see that you guys are able to pivot like that in a team. I think it's really cool to watch. You know what I mean? It's like, damn, this works. Hell yeah. It's awesome. So that's what I think.
Cam, what does a good day at work look like for you? Or a great day of work look like for you?
A great day at work. A great day at work is pretty much surrounded by great conversations. And whether that's just a chat where we're, figuring something out, or whether it's a gift that's going back and forth and making us laugh, or hopefully, some good conversations with some sellers. And honestly, some of the best conversations are all about the follow-up, right? Where you're talking to somebody and they remember talking to you, and it's not going anywhere, but you're building that relationship. And then some of those come through to fruition at the end. And that's probably the best day. And the most recent one, the one that we should be closing on here pretty soon, is 7 months worth of follow-up and 7 months worth of somebody remembering me and us having a conversation, but him giving me the cold shoulder until like a month ago, right? And so that's a good day at work, because then you realize that everything I started in July just actually worked now, right? And so that's a good day. And chuckling at gifts and other silly things within the company that keep it lighthearted, but keep it business as well. You know what I mean? That's a great day at work for sure. And being in my own house in my sweats, working. Yep.
Also nice, yeah.
Yeah.
So past Cam taking care of future Cam is what you're saying.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yep. And not wearing a uniform anymore.
Jacob, great day of work.
Yeah, it's kind of just mirroring almost what everybody else has said. I really like what Shawn said. To me, it's the slow incremental change and build up on whatever the goal is, right? Whether or not that's the daily goal, the monthly goal, the yearly goal. Any good day is just anything that you can do that gets you closer to that. I think that's a good day of work. I think a really good day of work is definitely getting a contract signed officially, ideally 2 or 3 for like $100,000 or $1 million, because we all know those numbers are totally real, right? So so those are good days. Any day that a contract comes in, I like what Cam said. Any day that you have some really good conversations, especially on the acquisition side of the house with sellers, always enjoy those days. I always feel good at the end of it. I feel like we got something accomplished, and again, we move closer to that goal of locking up more and more contracts. And I would also say I really, really enjoy it when we hop into some of the Facebook groups and we see progress being made by other people that are working with us. I think that is awesome. I just think it's awesome. The idea that like we all know that it works. We all know it's real because we're obviously doing it and we've all experienced it. But for people who are new that are still working towards their first deal, I mean, I remember what it was like to be there, right? To go through wholesaling out of the box the very first time around, and to have 2 contracts fall through and to eventually leave, come back and get one. It's just a really cool process to see, I think, somebody else go through, and a really cool process to be a part of from a coaching and a mentoring standpoint. So I love hopping in the groups and seeing the progress and seeing the updates from everybody that we're working with. And to me, that's just, it goes back to what Cam said, having a good conversation, because to me, that's all good conversation. But yeah, to me, those are always great days.
Yeah. Awesome. My great day of work, kind of like you guys, it starts out with, over coffee, where we're going back and forth, kind of talking about what we did the day before, sending some gifts, that kind of thing. And it's great. The team is really great. And I think we've talked about that a lot, so I won't go into it too much more. And then just being able to finally see some progress on projects. So I've been working on a pretty big project and I felt like I wasn't seeing any progress for a really long time, even though I was working on it every day. And then last week it finally started to come together and I'm like, okay, yes, there we go. Finally, I'm seeing some progress. And that's what it is. It's just being able to see, like Shawn and Jacob were saying, that progress, to see where you were when you started versus now. And it's just so nice. Okay, so final question, guys. What are you looking forward to most for 2021? Jacob, let's start with you.
Going real estate full time. That's pretty much it. Yeah, I'm not looking forward to anything more excitedly than that. So the idea of hopping off of the carousel, off of the 9 to 5, and doing something that is just fun, right? So I feel like not very many people can wake up every day and be like, yeah, I'm going to work, but it's not really work, right? So everybody always talks about that. That's always the dream, but I really don't think there are very many people out there that do that. And for me, there will not be anything more exciting than that. And then of course the baby girl or boy coming in June of 2021. That's going to be that might be the one thing. That is the one thing that trumps me leaving the 9 to 5. So I have to say that's a plug for me not getting beat up later by my wife. So no, I'm kidding. It's a joke. No, but yeah, absolutely. Baby coming in 2021, and then just moving to real estate full time. Absolutely awesome.
Awesome. Kaylee?
I'm also very excited about being full time with this team in 2021, and I'm very anxious to get WWOB launched. So I'm super excited about that.
Yeah. And you guys will hear a little bit more about that in the next couple of months, once we get it more up and running. Shawn?
Man, I don't know, because it's gonna sound like a engine not stopping. Like, you guys talk about full throttle, man. It's like everything that we've talked about as this company and what we're growing, what we're building, the things that are changing. I'm looking forward to all of it. I mean, we're going to change one big piece, which is a monthly meeting that we have been doing for the better part of 3 years, right? Which is that property walkthrough, right? And we're about to change that up to be on a weekend, once a month. And I think that's going to be a massive change. I think there's a lot of things that are going to come with that, right? Challenges, but good, like all that kind of stuff, like video and audio and all that kind of stuff. Like my head just spins when we think about that. I'm like, God. WOB, how it's growing and what it's doing, and the ability of how many people we're going to be able to reach with it. I think that's a big change. Full circle for sure. Whether it's full circle itself or flipping out of the box. Both of those have big potentials, right? With us moving over to doing some money lending, to doing some rehabs again, having that all put together. I mean, if you look at big picture of what we talked about from what we did to this past year, when like a lot of companies imploded, we grew, right? And we flourished into bigger and better things that actually are coming to fruition in the following year. And it wasn't like they didn't happen. There was talked about, and then they're put into action, and then some were like pushed up a little quicker than others, and then we're here. You know what I mean? So yeah, man, you talk about what it looks like from the outside in. It's just like million miles an hour in like 10 different ways. So yeah, I'm super pumped. It's going to be a lot of fun. And as this makes anybody hearing this, if you are ever in this position and your stomach is just like flip flopping all the time and you're like super nervous, right? That's where you grow. Right. And Cam all got us this cup, and it says, comfort will kill you, right? And that's the simple of it, is like the comfort zone sucks. You don't grow in it, right? And it's just a really good example of like I've said it a few times this year. Me, Ashley, or the team. It's like, man, my stomach's, I'm flipping and flopping right now, right? And it's all like, cool, shit's happening. We're growing. So every time we talk about that, I get the chills just talking about it. Like I got hair standing on my arm right now, where it's just like, man, it's about to get really real and it's going to make you grow, because I know that feeling in the past and we didn't fail. We've always grown and it's really cool. So I'm gonna shut up now because I'm gonna keep talking. I'm so nervous about how excited I am.
All right, Cam.
Yeah, so I'm going to have to go back to 2019 to look ahead to 2021. 2021. That seems weird to say, but so I knew when I came on with this team that we would grow, right? And we talked about that a couple times, and I wasn't too overly concerned about what everything would look like, the structure of everything. I just knew that this was a great team, and I knew that we would grow. And in 2020, we did a lot of growing, like a lot, and it's blown my mind. And I'm so excited for 2021 because we have so many big things planned and so many different things that are brand new and some that are evolving and some that are growing, that it's just going to be insane. And I really don't want to say too much more about it because I know we're going to do a 2021 episode and I'm going to save it all for there. But there's just so many changes coming and we've grown so much and we're going to keep growing so much. And we actually have plans. We'll follow through on those plans, right? And just a team that will not let things drop, right? We're gonna carry the water, however, you know what I mean, and help each other get the water across to the goal. And just now I feel like I'm rambling, but we have really great things planned. And my point is, in 2019, I knew this. I had no idea what this would look like, but I knew it was there, and we were moving that direction. We just had to develop it, and I think we've all done that. So I'm pretty stoked.
Yeah. And actually, my thing that I'm most excited about comes from 2019 too, because this time around the holidays last year, we really started to change how we were doing some stuff with WOB. And at that point, I was looking forward to what I wanted to turn it into. And it scares me a little bit the changes that we're going to be making. But I mean, it's been in the works in my mind for a while. I mean, this podcast was one thing that I really wanted to do, and it was down the line. I was looking, like 2021, 2022, and then COVID hit, and I was like, well, I've got some time now, might as well do it now. So sometimes good things come out of that. And yeah, so the WOB changes, those are going to be really great. And you're going to get some episodes about what that looks like. We're going to be offering some amazing new things that I think everyone will find helpful. So yeah, that's about it. Does anyone have anything else they want to say about 2020 before we say goodbye? No? Good riddance to 2020?
Oh man, I think it's cool. I think it's cool that this team has come out of 2020. I think we will all be able to look back at this recording and it will be one of those things where you have seen, or you're going to hear a lot of stories talking about companies that fell apart, couldn't make it, just couldn't cut what it needed, or couldn't pivot, or couldn't shift. I'm really looking forward to look back and much less 1 year, 2, 3, 5 years down the road and be like, man, can you believe that? That's nuts. Look where we're at now. So I'm looking forward to it. I think it's really cool. And I know we talk about a lot of the team and I know you guys are all pumped, but I really do want to thank everybody that's on here right now. And this goes back down to our VAs too. They're all part of our team, but all of this doesn't happen unless you have a good team. So I really appreciate all you guys putting in all the hard work and the time and the effort and energy to get where we're going, because everybody's been part of it, and it's going to be really cool to see it flourish.
Yeah.
We grew from 1 VA to 5 VAs.
Oh, in a single year. Yeah.
In a single year. That's a good point. 5 full-time VAs. And I think they do keep up with what we give them, but honestly, we keep them slammed with work, and they keep up really well. And that's really a testament to this year too, because we grew. It's like everybody talks about the bad parts of 2020. And when I go back to think about the bad parts business-wise, I'm like, we just pivoted, changed, and kept growing. It was those things I mentioned in July and September that we could not control anyways in August. July, August. We couldn't control them anyways. Anyways, I'll shut up now, but I'm like, man, we're good. We're good.
All right, cool. So thanks everyone for listening or watching our 2020 wrap-up podcast. It was really nice to be able to get here and to talk about this. And I think it's scheduled for next week. We're going to go over our 2021 goals. So keep an eye out for that, because I think that's going to be really interesting. And like I said, we've got a lot of really awesome things planned for Wholesaling Out of the Box. I mean, you'll see that both everywhere: Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, podcast feeds, whichever one you subscribe to. And so all of that stuff is going to be coming out in the new year. And I think it's really going to help you guys, and it's going to help us. It's going to help us become better mentors, and it's going to help you guys become better wholesalers and really get your real estate life started. So thanks again for listening, and we'll see you next time.